And we are live, the Start Shit Show. Here we go. I got Jared and myself, Josiah. We are here to do a little recap on the Week 7 Fantasy Football Week and help you get set up for the coming up week of Week 8 here. We're going to start off with doing a little recap of what we just had here for Week 7. So, Jared, you got anything that really stood out to you from yesterday at today's games?
Yesterday, no, all that stood out to me was that I did awful in almost everything.
Yesterday, I mean, it was a crazy week. It was one of the weirdest weeks of fantasy football we've had in a long time.
Yeah, it was pretty bad for me. You normally wake up Sunday morning and you get excited about it being football day. And then, for me, by the end of the day, I wasn't excited. I was just sad because everyone did terrible for me. I tonight in our league, I need Geno Smith to score 18 points, which I'm keeping my expectations low.
Hey, you never know.
Because I don't expect 18 points from Geno Smith. I
hope he gets it.
My our phone here is stuck on something. I got to fix this real quick. But our first segment is start sit, right?
Yeah, we can do a start sit real quick.
We can do a start sit. I'll be right back. I'll make sure this works. Stupid.
Yeah. Are you setting up a start sit right now, or do you want me to give one here?
Yeah, give one. Because our iPad is not. Our Let's View is not working.
All right. I got a start sit scenario here. Dearness Johnson, he's gonna be a tough one. I think Nick Chubb is gonna be back, so it's gonna be kind of hard to figure out what to do with Dearness Johnson. And I'm looking at a scenario where maybe I could start Dearness Johnson or Michael Carter. And man, it's a tough one, but the Jets are so bad. I think I still go Dearness Johnson right there.
Well, I saw news today that Nick Chubb might be back this week.
Yeah, I think Nick Chubb will be back. That's what makes this one hard. If Chubb's out, that's an easy answer, right?
Yeah.
But if we assume Nick Chubb's out, man, what do you do there? I mean, Michael Carter seems to be the guy for the Jets, but it's the Jets.
It's the Jets, yeah. And actually, Dearness Johnson, he actually looked like a major stud this week. He got like 146 yards.
In my opinion, I think he's probably going to take that Kareem Hunt role and fill it pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, I can't pull up the stats on his receptions, but do you remember if he had any receptions this week?
He had like 2 receptions, maybe 20 or 30 yards. Most of it was running work, but I mean, I think he can catch the ball too. I wouldn't set the expectations quite for what he did last week with Nick Chubb being back, but I think he's still going to be a good play.
Yeah.
So I'd go Dearness Johnson over Michael Carter in this scenario.
Yeah. Michael Carter Williams really hasn't done anything super impressive yet this year. So I don't have high expectations for him, but I mean, he got 10 points last week? I'm actually pulling it up right now.
Michael Carter, he had a decent game. He probably had more than 10 points, maybe 13 or 14 points.
He had 12.4 points. He had a fumble this week. He had 11 attempts, 37 yards, but he also caught the ball.
Yeah, he had like 8 catches.
He had 9 targets for 67 yards and 8 receptions, which maybe the fact that, what's his name, White? What's the quarterback now in the Jets?
We got Mike White starting for the Jets now.
So maybe
pretty enticing.
Pretty enticing, and actually that's probably good for Michael Carter because from what I was reading, from what I saw, he doesn't like to throw the ball down the field. He's going to dump it off to whoever's available on short yardage. And Michael Carter, 9 targets. I mean,
it could help him a little bit in that regard. I mean, you can pretty much guarantee he's not going to get a touchdown because the Jets might not score any points.
Right. Right.
But anyways, I mean, it's a tough one. I would go Dearness Johnson right there, but
as long as Nick Chubb isn't healthy, is not healthy, then you'd go Nick Chubb. If not, then it's an easy choice.
If Nick Chubb's out, yeah, super easy choice.
And who's Michael Carter playing this week? He's playing Cincinnati, which
is not a bad matchup.
Not a bad matchup. Who's that? So who was it? I was reading this week that the only defense in the NFL right now that has Arizona. They've only allowed 1 running back touchdown so far this week.
Really? Arizona actually has a sneaky good defense.
Yeah, I was surprised to read that stat.
Probably because they're playing with the lead all the time, so teams are always passing the ball on them too.
Right. So yeah. All right, you got another start-sit scenario?
I don't have any start-sit scenarios right now, but a few people I wanted to kind of touch on just after yesterday's games here. I thought it was real interesting to see Khalil Herbert just really dominate the carries and have a great game, despite his terrible matchup against Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay is the best run defense in the league.
Yeah.
And Herbert had a good game, and Damian Williams was healthy, and he got like 2 carries. So it looks like Khalil Herbert's pretty much taken that job as of right now.
Yeah, he had 18 attempts, 100 yards, 15.58 fantasy points, 5 targets.
He is the one and only bright spot for the Chicago Bears right now.
That's pretty much it. He had 5 targets, 5 receptions. He caught everything that went his way this week. How do you feel about Khalil Herbert on the long run? Do you think he's going to take that job from David Montgomery whenever David Montgomery comes back healthy?
I wouldn't be surprised if they end up splitting work a little bit when Montgomery gets back, which is a little dangerous. But I think next year, I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago moves on from Montgomery.
Yeah,
and they go with Khalil Herbert.
What is in the time frame on David Montgomery? You're a Chicago fan, so maybe
his initial time frame was 6 to 8 weeks. So I mean, not a short injury by any means. It could easily get extended too, for all we know. I mean,
right.
Something could happen, and he could end up being out the whole year. I would be wanting to get Khalil Herbert or holding on to Khalil Herbert as much as I could.
So that's a pretty good season-long hold, dynasty hold, Khalil Herbert. I wonder what his ownership is across the leagues. I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Pretty low.
It's actually 61.7% in ESPN leagues.
So maybe not quite a waiver wire guy. He might be out there in a few leagues. If he is, go get him. But if you still have him, you're holding him for the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, since we're talking about that, let's head into our waiver wire segment.
Let's do it.
So first off, we just talked about Khalil Herbert. He's 61.7% owned. If he is available in your league, long-term hold seems pretty solid, considering he got 100 yards off of 18 attempts against, who was it again? Against Tampa Bay, who has a pretty good run defense, right?
Oh, yeah. Tampa Bay, probably the best run defense in the league.
Yeah, probably the best in the league. Who else are you looking at this week in waiver wires, Josiah?
I got a few. Are we going to do our top 5 waiver wire guys?
Yeah, we'll do top 5 waiver wire guys right now.
All right.
Who is number 5?
So number 5 for me is Devontae Freeman. He's not by any means like a must get, but I think he's going to get a decent amount of points on a great offense, and especially while Latavius Murray is out. Because, I mean, someone's got to run the ball there a little bit, and Freeman will catch the ball. So I think he's a good get, especially if you need a running back. There's not a ton of running backs in the waiver wire this week, and Devontae Freeman's a decent one to me. Do you have any opinions on him?
Freeman, he kind of scares the heck out of me, mainly because he had a couple opportunities last season to be the lead dude. I think it was on the Giants, and he didn't really perform. But, I mean, that being said, last week he had a 11.4 points, 4 attempts for 14 yards. See, that right there, that scares me. 4 attempts, 14 yards. What? That's like 3 yards an attempt. But
he catches the ball.
He caught the ball, 3 targets, 3 receptions.
If they're on the goal line and they're going to run it, it's probably going to be him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. He is 20% owned across all leagues, so most likely he's available in whatever league that is looking for a replacement at running back. But yeah, that's a solid number 5 for me. I don't love Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, he's decent. Not a must add by any means, but if he's the best on your waiver wire, I don't hate it.
Yeah, if you're desperate at running back, it can't really hurt you if he's available in that league. I'd say okay. So what's your number 4?
Number 4 for me is right now, I think Michael Gallup.
Michael Gallup coming off IR this week.
I think Michael Gallup has potential to come off IR this week, if not probably next week. Coming back on one of the best offenses in the league.
Yep. And
I want any piece of that offense I can get. And
yeah.
Michael Gallup is a talented player.
He is. He's shown a lot of talent previously. He's 49.9% owned across ESPN leagues. He's only played 1 week so far because of the injury. But in that first week, he had 7 targets, 4 receptions, 36 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And who's his competition there? CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper.
Also Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz, who's
and also the running backs, they both catch the ball between Zeke and Pollard. So I mean, a lot of room to spread the ball around.
It's amazing that team has been all those players have been productive. I mean, I guess Amari Cooper's been a little less recently, productive wise.
I mean, he's been disappointing for where you got him, but he's still a player that you probably want to start most weeks, right?
Right, but you'd rather have CeeDee Lamb in that offense.
Oh yeah,
right?
CeeDee Lamb I think is the number one.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's the number one.
But Cooper's a good number 2.
Yeah, I mean I like Michael Gallup. And
if for some reason something happened to Cooper or CeeDee Lamb, which Amari Cooper's been dealing with injuries throughout the year.
Right, and even talking about next year, like if you're in a dynasty league, Amari Cooper's not going to be there. I wish I knew what his contract was.
He just signed a new contract pretty recently.
Do you know what it was? Do you know how many years it was? Look it up.
We'll look it up here.
Let's see.
It was at least 2 years.
Because I feel like Michael Gallup he's talented enough to like really solidify.
Yeah, if he ever got the number 2 job on that team, man, I think he would be a stud. I think he would want him for sure.
I drafted him in our dynasty league.
It's just been a waiting game, huh? You're just waiting for him to get that at least the number 2 job. Possibly what actually could happen that would be better for Gallup is after this year, his contract is up. He could sign with a different team and get a number 1 or number 2 spot.
Right.
With Cooper, he signed a long deal, so it's a 4-year deal. But there's a potential out every year. So if Dallas wants to move on, they can cut his contract every year.
Say that again?
Cooper, he signed a long deal. So Amari Cooper, he signed a 4-year deal.
4-year deal?
But,
what is it, like
but it's real flexible. So, I mean, every year Dallas can move on from his contract
right.
and
no
cut
trade
him.
clause or anything like
Right,
that?
Right.
See, I feel like that's going to be like an Odell Beckham scenario where they move on pretty quickly from – because he hasn't really – I mean, as far as I don't ever remember a week where I'm like sad that I don't have Amari Cooper right now.
He had a great week 1, and then he's been pretty bad after that.
yeah. Let's see here. So far, week 1, 32 points, and we were all sad that we didn't have Amari Cooper
we were
at that
all
point.
Like, we had to have Cooper.
Right, but then the next 2 weeks, 3.9 points, 4.1, 14.4, 13.5, and then 8 this week. But he did have 8 targets in there, and they're heading into a bye. I feel like Michael Gallup is a solid waiver wire pickup for the long term.
I would definitely want to get Gallup
in the short term.
Because also, like I said, if something happens to Cooper or Lamb, Gallup moves into that number 2 position, and he's a top wide receiver the rest of the league if that's the case.
All right, number 3 on the waiver wire pickups. Who are you looking at? You have someone?
Number 3 for me is probably Kenneth Gainwell right now.
Gainwell, yes.
Yep, Kenneth Gainwell with Sanders getting injured. We don't have a lot of details on the injury yet. So, I mean,
could be long, could be relatively short.
But
not exactly sure.
I would want to stash Gainwell because if Sanders is out, I would think Gainwell's a good play the rest of the year.
Gainwell, yeah, he's a multi-asset. Basically, he catches the ball and he runs. I mean, really, for the most part, Philadelphia, they don't run a ton, but they do. Even whenever Miles Sanders was healthy, they would dump the ball off to Gainwell. Probably more than I think so far more than Miles Sanders. I'd have to look that stat up, but it always seems like he's always been involved with the healthy Miles Sanders. Now we're going to for sure get him. Miles Sanders is less, or without Miles Sanders this coming week. So I feel like top 3 for sure. Waiver wire pickup for Kenneth Gainwell.
I think Gainwell's a good pickup, and if you need a running back, he might be higher if you're desperate for running back.
Yeah. He had 12.1.
The only reason he's not higher is because Miles Sanders' status is pretty unknown.
And Miles Sanders has been like one of the most disappointing people to own this season too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's been frustrating.
He's been very frustrating.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't have any exposure to him in any of the leagues that we're in or any.
Oh, I don't have any Miles Sanders. I didn't have high expectations for him going into this.
It sucks that he got an ankle injury this week, but it's an opportunity for Kenneth Gainwell. Who is currently only 26% owned across ESPN leagues. Probably pretty solid running back pickup. Probably most likely, considering everyone else's that we're going to talk about has been at least looked into, might be the top waiver wire pickup on the week.
If you're in a deep league, might be the top one.
Might be the top waiver wire pickup on the week. But, yeah, I like Kenneth Gainwell going forward. That's a great number 3.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of opportunity there to score you consistent fantasy points, at least for 2 weeks, I would assume, if not more, depending on the news that
And
comes
like
out.
you said, really
on Miles
safe.
Sanders.
Like, if he's the number 1 guy, he's guaranteed going to get catches, so
Right.
he's never going to bust for you.
No.
And he's got upside to do more than that, so he's a good play.
Yeah, I like Kenneth Gainwell. All right, I know my number 1. What's your number 2 on waiver wire pickup?
My number 2, probably most weeks this will be number 1, but we got a pretty good number 1 this week. But number 2 right now is Rashad Bateman.
Rashad Bateman.
I've been
yep.
pushing Rashad Bateman the last 3 weeks, been telling everyone go get him. If you did it, hold on to him. You're going to be thankful in the long run. He's only played 2 weeks so far this year. Both weeks led his team in targets as a rookie.
Yeah.
The guy's going to be great. The more he gets flowing and going with the offense, he's going to turn into a stud on that team.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, led the entire offense in targets both weeks. In fact, every week he's played in the NFL, he's led.
He's never
in
played a game
targets.
where he didn't lead his team in targets.
Yeah, he had 6 in week 6, and then 6 in week 7. He had 9.5 fantasy points, 80 yards.
And he's just an electric player, man.
He's an electric player. He's set up for success, and
Yeah.
he's only. I mean, he went up a lot last week. I think we said he was like 2.7% owned in fantasy leagues.
He was really low.
He's moved up to 19% at this point,
and it's gonna go higher.
and it's
after
going
this
to
week.
keep getting higher from this.
Get him while you can.
If you are in a league where it requires Fab to pick up your players, like you can pick up whoever you want, but it requires you to put in the highest bid in your league to get them. I would dump the money on this dude because he's got a very high long-term value. Regardless if it's a dynasty league or not, I feel like this dude can add a ton of points to your season or to your team going forward. Rashad
no
Bateman.
doubt, he could be a league winner this year for sure.
Yeah.
So say you got you have $100 Fab budget. How much would you bet? How much would you spend on Rashad Bateman this week?
Like, I don't know, 50-60% of that.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, I mean, with me in Fab, I am always broke at the end of the season because there's usually someone that shows up that I want to get my hands on, and I want and this play can make or break your team.
Right.
So on the waiver wire pickups where I feel like this is make or break my team, I'll dump 60-70% of my entire budget on this guy just to make sure that I have him.
For all you know, there could be no one else that really shows up on the waiver wire.
Right, you don't know. It's a guessing game. A lot of times, the best players for the rest of the season show up between like week 1 and week 5.
I agree with that.
And
usually, from like week 8 on, which is where we're at now, you're lucky if like 2 guys show up on the waiver wire.
Yeah, that are like consistent for the rest of the season.
Right.
All the players at the end of the game, it's like these are players that have a short-term value because someone's injured or something, but it won't really bleed into next season or anything like that.
Exactly right.
So, Rashad Bateman, solid number 2, only 19% owned across ESPN leagues. Now, I'm surprised that this dude is even available to be in the waiver wire pickup spot.
Yeah, our number 1 guy. Like, I didn't even consider him at first, but then I realized how low owned he was, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's got to be number 1.
I can't believe he actually went down in percentage owned this week, and everyone that dropped him, I don't understand why you did. It makes no sense at all. Before we get into it, we got a couple questions on the chat. Just
let's hit them. Let's hit them. I hear it.
KTC Bull, bye weeks killed me. My flex, or need my flex to get 45 tonight. Oh, who's your flex? Let us know who your flex is.
Yeah, let's hear it. Hopefully it's Kamara.
Hopefully it's Kamara. That's what Josiah needs. James Z. Howe. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Trade Henley and Ridley for Kupp and Najee Harris. Ooh, that's a interesting.
What was it?
Trade
Ridley
scenario.
and Kupp for Harris?
I'm assuming it's Derrick Henry and Ridley for Kupp and Najee Harris.
I would do that.
You would do that? You'd take Kupp and Najee Harris for not Hunter Henry, but Derrick Henry and Calvin Ridley?
I would do that because I think.
Why would you do that?
Because I think Cooper Kupp is that much of a stud.
But Derrick Henry's that much of a stud.
I think Najee Harris is really good too.
Najee Harris is very good, but
Najee Harris is a little behind Henry, but I think Cooper Kupp is like he's a lot above Calvin Ridley. I think right now I would make an argument to say Cooper Kupp is the best receiver, like the number 1 receiver the rest of the season for me. He's over Devontae Adams. He's over Tyreek Hill.
Oh yeah, number 1 wide receiver for sure. But Derrick Henry, he's outscored, I think, all but 6 quarterbacks in fantasy points this season. So you're giving that up. There's no other running back that you can get that kind of production from. Maybe
I don't think he's
going to
score
close.
that many points the rest of the year.
I mean, that's hard.
It's not sustainable.
I don't know.
I don't think it's sustainable. I think he'll still be the number one running back.
But is what Cooper Kupp's doing, is that sustainable?
Seems sustainable.
I mean, I don't know. Let me look. I've already kind of given. Let's finish this.
Who do you think will score more points for the rest of the year, Cooper Kupp or Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry. I feel like Derrick Henry will.
In a full PPR league.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. He already has. I don't think he's going to keep doing
After this week, though, I don't know. Cooper Kupp just scored 30, and Derrick Henry had like 15.
Well, I feel like Derrick Henry is hard to trade. It's like you need like 2 or 3 studs to equal the same amount of value as losing Derrick Henry. That's how I feel about it.
You can't go wrong either way on that trade, but
no, yeah, they're both.
For me, I would go with the Kupp side.
I understand why
you're the Derrick Henry side.
Yeah, I understand why you're asking. That's hard. Both sides are pretty nice because you're not really like upgrading at a position. You're just trading both positions: running back for wide receiver, running back for wide receiver. I feel like Kupp is a better option than Ridley, and Najee Harris is just a little bit less than Henry. I don't know. Maybe I would do.
Like Najee Harris
maybe I would do
Kupp
and Najee. Yeah, maybe I would go Kupp and Najee. But I've kind of
good question though. Thank you. You.
Top waiver wire pickup this week because I already brought up the graphic. But Kadarius Toney, I don't understand why he's only 43.9% owned across ESPN leagues. He actually lost 16% ownership over the weekend, and everyone, if you were that dude that dropped him, I don't know what you're doing. It doesn't make any sense.
You better be scrambling to pick him back up.
Yeah, you better do whatever you can to get that guy back on your lineup. His injury was not a long one; it's a short one. He just has a little bit of an ankle injury. He's got to kind of cater to a little bit. But for the rest of the season, this dude's a stud. Whenever he went out on his injury, the first 5 or 6 plays, half of them went to him. The first drive, he got 5.5 fantasy points, 5.2, I think, maybe fantasy points in the first drive, and then he went out for the rest of the game. That's going to continue. This dude is very elusive. He's going to be a yards made after the catch monster. Daniel Jones doesn't need to throw down the field for this guy to produce fantasy points. He's going to just cut and dodge everyone that comes at him. He kind of looks like a Derrick Rose of the NFL. Derrick Rose, he cut and the things he was doing didn't look sustainable. Kadarius Toney kind of looked prior to his injury. Kadarius Toney looks that same way. Like this dude is just going to dodge everyone that comes at him and create lots of after the catch yardage. So, this is why he's our number one, only 43.9% owned across fantasy leagues. If he's available in your league, if you're one of the lucky bunch that has him available on your waiver wire, pick this dude up. He's going to be, in my opinion, a season winner.
Yeah, in my opinion, Tony's on your waiver wire right now.
Yeah.
Go spend 75% of your waiver wire budget.
Mm-hmm. If not 90.
Yep.
This is an opportunity that we don't get to see very often.
Yep.
Waiver wire pickup like this.
It's a chance to pick up a potential league winner type of player off the waiver wire.
Yeah.
And it's a guy who we already kind of know he has league winner potential. We've already
seen what he can do, and I don't understand why people were just. I mean, it was a big bye week, and people were desperate and needed to get plays, but still, I'd rather put no one in a position to make sure I have him for the rest of the season than drop him for someone like some guy that's just going to be beneficial for that week.
Yeah, he's a guy who, I mean, when he's healthy, you want to start him.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, I don't know, I kind of want to start him, but he's close to my other players. No, when he's healthy, you start him.
Yeah.
If he's not healthy, then you don't start him. It's not a hard decision.
Yeah.
But once he gets healthy, he has the potential to score 25, 30 points.
Yep. A healthy Kadarius Toney is a lock and load every week for the foreseeable future, including next year. So grab him while you can.
Yep. Get him while you can. That's the last week to
and
get him.
ask yourself why you haven't grabbed him whenever you do grab him, because it makes no sense at all. All right, so our next segment, we got buy low, sell high. It's the segment that does the best for us here at the Pivot.
Let's do buy lows first.
What do you got for buy low?
So I think my best buy low right now, or at least my most important buy low right now, is Dallas Goedert to me.
Ooh, Dallas Goedert.
If I can get Dallas
absolutely.
Goedert, I want to get Dallas Goedert any way I can do it. I think he could be a top 3, top 4 tight end the rest of the year. And I think there's a good chance that he'll do it too. Because anytime that since he's been in Philadelphia, it's been like 3 or 4 years, any game that Zach Ertz has missed, Dallas Goedert has averaged like 18 fantasy points per game.
Yeah.
And guess what? Zach Ertz is gone for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's in Arizona.
And who's the number 1 receiver on that team? Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert, yeah. He had five targets this week, 70 yards, 3 receptions, 10.5 fantasy points. It was a rough game to watch for Philadelphia.
It was a rough game.
Honestly,
They couldn't move the ball until the fourth quarter.
Right, but going forward, I mean, I even liked this dude whenever there was a healthy Ertz on the team.
I've liked him for a long time.
Yeah.
He's just a really special, talented player.
He's very. I feel like if you can trade for this guy and you're hurting at tight end, this is a good tight end target. If you have like extra assets at the running back position or the wide receiver position, get your hands on him. It's going to be a solid. He will be a solid tight end for the rest of the season.
And Dallas Goedert was getting drafted
injured
so
like
late that if you find yourself with a team where you have like Dallas Goedert and like Mark Andrews or something, sell Mark Andrews because you got Dallas Goedert the rest of the year.
Yeah, no.
Or if you got like George Kittle and Dallas Goedert, sell George Kittle.
Yeah, if you can,
you don't got to worry about that no more with Dallas Goedert.
If you can walk into a scenario where you can trade a Mark Andrews or a George Kittle for Goddard and then like a promising wide receiver asset or running back asset, I would do that immediately.
Yeah, because Dallas Goedert is going to put up that caliber of points.
Right.
And you can get a better return for Kittle or Andrews type of player right now.
Right. I agree with that 100%.
How about you? You got to buy low?
I mean, it's the same buy low that we've had for a while for me right now. Let me see. Let me see if I can make things interesting. I don't know if Kyle Pitts is a buy low at this point, but I've loved him all season. He's had 2 solid weeks of just monster fantasy numbers. If there's someone out there in your league that isn't valuing Kyle Pitts like he should, I would go for Kyle Pitts. I feel like by the end of the season, he might be the number 1 tight end in the league.
I would want Kyle Pitts too. I don't know if you can buy him low right now. I mean, if you can, do it, but you'll probably have to pay a decent amount for it. But I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know if he's a buy low yet. In some leagues, he might be. People might.
After last week, whoever has him is probably excited about him.
Yeah, whoever has him is probably excited about him. I'd say a buy low that I kind of like, and it might be because of my bias, but I feel like Marvin Jones is a good buy low.
Interesting. I'll bring up my other buy low after you talk about it.
The reason why I think Marvin Jones is a good buy low is he's had DJ Chark is out for the rest of the season. So they're limited on I guess wide receiver competition in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And the week that DJ Chark went down, he had 6 targets, but he only scored 3 fantasy points because I don't know how the game script fell or whatever. He only caught one of those balls. He got 3 fantasy points. Week 2. He got 10 targets, caught 7 of them, got 100 yards and a touchdown. Going forward, I feel like that's going to be more regular than the previous week. Marvin Jones, 31, looks a lot better than Julio Jones, who is also 31. And I feel like he's going to have a good rest of the season. He's got Seahawks next. I mean, he's got Buffalo. That's rough. Indianapolis, San Francisco, Arizona, Rams. But not the easiest matchups. But I feel like when they're throwing the ball, most of the time it's going to be going to Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence has looked better over the last few weeks.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is probably going to get a little better every week throughout the whole year.
Right. And
I can't argue with your Marvin Jones buy low, but my buy low is Laviska Shenault.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I think he just has more upside than Marvin Jones.
I don't know. Well, I mean, let's see here.
And I think as Trevor Lawrence gets better over the year, Laviska Shenault's going to keep getting better over the year. The thing with Laviska Shenault right now is he's kind of taking over the DJ Chark role. So it's taking him a few weeks to get accustomed. He's running a little bit different routes than he was running while DJ Chark was healthy. But once he gets accustomed to that and once him and Trevor Lawrence click, I think he's a much more electric player than Marvin Jones, and he has the potential to really go off.
Let's see here. Shenault last week, previously to their bye, he also had 10 targets. Mm-hmm. They had 10 targets collectively. He had 54 yards, 6 receptions, 8.4 fantasy points. I mean, I can't argue against that. I feel like something that if you're in a dynasty league, Shenault might be a better option because he has more years left in him, for sure. Guaranteed.
It might be team dependent, too. Like, if you have really bad receivers, maybe you go get Marvin Jones because he's a little safer.
Right.
But, like, if you have 2 stud receivers and you're looking for a flex, maybe you go get Shenault because he has higher upside.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just looking for that big play that's going to put you over the top. Shenault's going to be more likely to be that guy than Marvin Jones.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. I do like Marvin Jones a little bit more for the rest of the season, but I mean, it's really a toss-up. We'll see.
Yeah, they're both good plays. I think
who does what.
Like we said, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to keep getting better, and both of those receivers will benefit from it.
Yeah. Not bad on either side. Do you have so that was our buy lows. Do you have a sell high for us this week, Josiah?
Yeah, let's move to sell high. I'm going to bring up one. We've brought him up in the past, but I'm going to bring him up again. And it's Cordero Patterson.
Patterson, sell him high.
Yep. And here's why I think Cordero Patterson is still a good sell high. He had a pretty good game last week, right? Scored like 12 points.
Yeah, 13.1 fantasy points.
But Calvin Ridley missed like the first 2 or 3 weeks leading up to last week.
Right.
And since Ridley came back and Gage, they were both out. And now they're both back, and Patterson had like 1 target last week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're telling me Patterson is not going to get any targets, I can't see how it's sustainable what he's done in the past.
Right.
The only reason why Patterson was somewhat interesting to me before is because I'm like, man, he's getting 12 carries and 8 targets. But now it's just going to be like 12 carries and 1 target. That's not even close to as valuable.
Well, he had 5 targets last week, pulling it up now.
Okay.
But he caught 2 of them for a total of 1 yard.
Yeah, they were all behind the line of scrimmage passes too. So, I mean, he was filling in for Ridley and Gage in the past 2 or 3 weeks as a receiver, and when they're healthy, he's not going to do that anymore. I mean, he might catch a few balls behind the line of scrimmage, like we said, but he's not going to be a consistent fantasy scorer going forward.
No, I don't feel like he's like a couple week winner. Like he'll get you a couple wins in the past weeks. Yeah. But I don't feel like he's going to be a season winner. Nope. In fact, he scored 14.9 week 5, 13.1 week 7 after the bye, and I don't feel like it's going to. I feel like that it's going to just get worse from there at some point. Like whenever he was available in our league, I just ignored him because I didn't see him being. He's been in the league so long, he's never done this before.
No, right.
Never done this before.
I don't know why. It would just like all of a sudden he's 33 years old and now he's a stud.
Yeah, it doesn't. Is he 33? Is that
he's
old?
Yeah, he's at
33
I know he's
years
in his 30s.
old.
I know he's in his 30s.
Dear God, and he's 95% owned across ESPN leagues, and that had to all happen within the last few weeks. Yeah, I feel like that's a solid. If there is value there, if people are still thinking that he's going to be consistent with what he's been doing, then yeah, sell high for sure. Yeah, like, go get yourself, if you're stacked at running back, go get yourself a stud wide receiver or to send him to someone who's hurting at running back because someone's got to be. We lost Miles Sanders. I feel like we lost someone else.
There's always somebody in your league that needs running backs.
There's always going to be someone that needs a running back, and if they can't get their hands on Gainwell this week, then try to sell him Cordell Patterson.
Yep, perfect.
So,
what about you? You got a good sell high?
Sell high. Let's see here. Let me pull up the list here. I had someone earlier. It slipped my mind. I
can give one more if you want.
Yeah, give one more.
So my other one is Damian Harris, the running back with New England Patriots. And he's had a good couple of weeks the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Which is the perfect time to sell him because you should never trust a Bill Belichick running back.
Right, exactly. Ever.
And if he ever puts up a few good weeks, sell him while you can.
Yeah.
Because he might get cut from the team next week.
That's right. Who was that? That was Jonah Hill. Was that? Do you remember that running back? He had like a
Jonas Gray. That was a while back, but
Jonas Gray had like a monster,
it's
like
just
millionaire
always been
maker.
That way. It's always been that way
stat.
with New England running backs.
And he got let go the next week.
Yeah.
Jonas Gray. That's
it was
right.
like that with like LeGarrette Blount throughout his career.
Yep.
He would have like some monster weeks, and then the next week not get a carry.
Right.
I'm like, it's just not worth it to me.
No,
I don't.
You
I don't
can't
want to
rely
take
on
the chance of having
New
0
England
points.
running back. I never draft them because that's how I feel. It's like,
Damian
you never
Harris
know
has
what's
looked
gonna
pretty
happen.
good the last few weeks. Sell him while you can still get something for
Yeah,
him.
especially
Just go
after
get
this
something
week.
else.
Especially after this week,
Right.
Damian Harris, he had I think what
And the guy's been battling injuries all year. He could just get hurt and not even have to deal with Bill Belichick's wrath.
Yeah, it's. I feel like that's a great sell high. Damian Harris, he had 24.3 fantasy points this week, 14 carried, 2 touchdowns, and 2 targets, 2 receptions, 7 yards. That's like the best you're gonna get out of him. Is how I feel.
Oh,
like,
yeah, it's the
like,
best.
This is a great.
And the worst is
a
0.
Great week. Yeah,
He could put up 0 points next
he
week.
could.
In your starting lineup, 0
this
points.
is a great
That's just
week.
how it goes.
A great week to unload Damian Harris because if
Yep.
if you've been watching Bill Belichick at all, you know that running backs.
Yeah, no doubt.
None of them are sustainable long term. I mean, just look at Sony Michael, or what's his name?
Sony Michel, yeah.
Sony Michel, yeah. Like he's gone. Everyone was hyping him up for a very long time, and now he's somewhere where he's irrelevant as of right. My sell high would probably have to be. I would go with Justin Jefferson.
Really?
Yeah. I've never
Coming
been
off a bye?
Coming off a bye, or I guess he was on a bye, but I'm looking at the wide receiver points, the list here. He's at about like 18, something like that. Everyone else I really like that's in this list. Even Deebo Samuels, I wasn't very high on him, but he keeps producing numbers to where I feel like he's going to sustain it. Maybe Mike Williams is a sell high. I'm not sure. He's had a pretty fluctuated couple weeks where he scored 30 points, 1 point, 20 points, 3 points.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard for me. I don't know. I feel like I feel like Justin Jefferson, maybe. I feel I can. I don't think. I don't like him. I don't know. I guess I don't have a really good reason.
Just feel like Adam Thielen's gonna be better? Or do you feel like they're just going to run the ball too much? Or
I feel like, yeah, we've been missing Dalvin Cook a couple weeks here. And he's starting to be healthy now, and a lot of the points are going to go to him, especially coming off a bye. I feel like Justin Jefferson is a good speculative sell high target. So
I'll just say if you're in a dynasty league, I wouldn't sell Justin Jefferson.
I don't know.
I think long term he's going to be good for a long time.
I don't know. I don't like Justin Jefferson.
If you can sell him this year and get a good return for him, I don't hate it. Just because I do think they are going to run the ball a lot.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I feel like they're going to run the ball a lot, and
Adam Thielen gets his.
Yeah, Adam Thielen gets his, and so it kind of
time.
feels like a scenario where you don't know when he's going to be good and when he's not going to be good. I mean, he's done pretty good so far this season. 10 points, 15 points, 22, 17, 15, 10. And his targets have all been there, but I feel like but also Dalvin Cook's been out a lot of those weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
So I feel like either one of the Minnesota wide receivers, I would probably say it's a good sell high, especially if Dalvin Cook comes back and is healthy for the rest of the season, which it looks like he's good to go this next week. So
yeah, I think Cook will be good to go.
So that's pretty much my sell high would be just
Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen. Either
or
one.
Adam Thielen. Yeah. I mean, if you hate both, you might as well sell Justin Jefferson.
Right.
You're going to get a lot more for it.
Right. So that's where I stand there.
Well, I got one more that we can talk about for a minute, and I think we've actually mentioned his name before recently in previous weeks, but for me it's Mark Andrews. And
yes.
And a big reason is because, like we talked about earlier with the waiver wire, is Rashad Bateman. I think he's going to eat into Mark Andrews a lot. I mean, I think where Mark Andrews has thrived in the past is just the fact that Lamar Jackson had no one to throw to.
Right.
And so Mark Andrews is just there as the only option. But as the target tree in Baltimore grows, so now they got Marquise Brown a little bit. Rashad Bateman's coming on every week. That's going to come out of Mark Andrews. And I just don't think Mark Andrews is a really special talent.
Right.
I think he's okay. And, I mean, if you have to start him, you could do worse. But I would try to sell him because he's had some great weeks in the past. And I know there's someone out there in your league who will pay pretty good for him.
Right, he's one of the well-known tight end names, but his fantasy points, even with his fantasy points not producing this season like we would think they would, he's still like a household name that people will pay for.
Yeah.
He had 6.3 fantasy points this past week. He had 7 targets. 2 weeks ago in week 5, he had 36.2. Yeah, I feel like it's a good sell high target. I think at this point, like we've already said this, I would rather have Dallas Goddard than
I would
Mark
rather have
Andrews for
Goddard
the rest
than
of the season.
Mark Andrews the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Shoot, if all you can do to get Dallas Goddard at this point is to trade Mark Andrews for him,
That's
just do it.
a win.
Just
that's
do
a
it.
win for sure.
If that's all you can do to get him, just do it. It might feel bad right now, but you will not regret it.
No, yeah. I agree with you on that. Okay, well we're at 5:03. It's a shorter show this week because we got a brand new computer. It took me a long time to get it all set up, and it almost didn't work, but it worked. Neither of the cameras froze. The phone worked smoothly after the first 5 minutes. But this is a regular show that we're going to do every Monday.
We're going to keep doing every Monday, yep.
Every Monday, most likely around 3 or 3:30. We'll get that solidified over the next few weeks.
Yep. Keep joining. Ask us your questions. Throw your fantasy football questions in the comments, too.
Yep.
We'll hit you up.
Throw your fantasy football comments in the comments. Make sure you subscribe and like this video and turn on your post notifications because you're going to be seeing a lot more content from us daily from here on out.
Yep, keep watching. There'll be more to come throughout the week.
Josiah, sign us off. I'm going to go turn the stream off.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for joining us here on the Pivot Start Sit Show. We will be back next Monday. We will also be back on Thursday with the DFS show.